it's Brittany. So today will be Back in Time Watches video, and today I'll be discussing my first time watch on The Edge. So for those who follow me on Twitter, my friends and fellow YouTubers, um, I have tweeted what movies I grew up watching, and I think there's some I left out. And I actually grew up watching The Edge quite young, when I was, quite little. And I know that may not be, it may not be the type of movie for it's suitable for young children, but I did grow up watching it. And some people call it like, I think, like the land version of Jaws, because the bear is on land and the shark is in the water. And I can see why, although I'm more afraid of sharks than bears. I mean, here's the thing, now, now it's okay to be afraid of bears if you encountered one, but if you're bothering it and if it's coming towards you, then there's no doubt about it that you would be afraid. But if you just live with them alone and they go their own way, then there's nothing to be scared of if they're not approaching you. If they're chasing you for whatever reason, then yes, it's okay to be afraid. But if you leave them alone and they're doing their own thing, then that's fine. But I actually love bears, though. They're like one of my favorite animals, but this movie did not ruin that for me. I think just because even at the time I knew, like, okay, this is a movie and somehow this bear is just really, I don't know, for some reason it's either really angry or somehow it's just acting in a certain way, almost like a like the bear is just acting out in cold blood. So that's what it seems like. But yeah, so even watching this movie quite young, I mean, some parts did scare me, but at the same time, it's like, it's a movie about learning how to survive in the woods, and in this case with a very angry ranging bear, then who wouldn't be afraid, to be out there with nothing with them, with very little food and water, which is not good. And Anthony Hopkins did a good job with his role. He To me, he seemed like he played the likable character, and since he had this book with him that helped him and the rest of two people that were there with him to help them to try to survive in the forest, or the woods. I'm not sure if they're the same thing or not. But since it helped them to survive, that was a good thing. And and now of course with Alec Baldwin, like in this movie, it seems like it's like somehow you want to like his character, but then it turns out he was, I think, trying to kill Anthony Hopkins' character. But there were some things I didn't quite catch when watching the movie, because at some point, what was it? Because it had been so long since I've seen The Edge, and I thought, okay, I might as well watch it. And when I did watch it, it turns out that Anthony Hopkins' wife, his character's wife, was having an affair with Alec Baldwin's character. And so he didn't find that out until there was a note. There's a note that she wrote to him, and when he found that letter or that little note, yeah, then he knew. And so yeah, I of course that's something I did not catch, and even that itself, I think I was confused. I was like, wait, what does that say? Like, what? And but most of the time, I was just like scared for those characters because like, oh no. But yeah, I didn't like how that one character got, you know, killed by that bear, only because there was a piece of cloth or a piece of clothing that had his blood on it, and all of a sudden the bear smelled it and kills him, completely mauls him to death. And that was just so graphic. I think other than that, I don't remember seeing any too graphic or gory details to that scene. And I think if it had shown a lot more, that that would have been too much to see, especially for a young child. So I'm glad they didn't really show a lot. But still, I still didn't like the fact that the character got killed off. But even when I was first watching this, it was intense, and it was scary to watch, because it's like, oh no, what's going on? And then with this bear, it's like, oh no. And so yeah, even just seeing this bear going after them, I'm like, okay, what is up with this bear? Like, if they're not doing anything to this bear, to intentionally hurt it or to try to tease it, then why is it going after them? Like, is it like either it's very territorial of its territory, or it could be that it's acting out only out of rage and acting out of that, where somehow maybe the bear snaps and somehow it's not leaving them alone. So I don't know, like, so, and yeah, I still don't get it. So and yeah, yeah, I also didn't like how Alec Baldwin's character tried to kill Anthony Hopkins' character. And I now forgot what the reason was, but I think it was because of the fact that he was having an affair with his wife's character. I think that could have been it, or just a different reason. I forgot, but I would have to watch it again. Yeah, the first time watching it, yes, it was intense for me, and it was scary, and it's like, oh my gosh, so like I felt like this is going on, this is going on. So yeah, and now of course I don't remember being too scared to the point of crying or anything, but yeah, I did feel scared in a way, and I'm like, oh no, like, try to stay safe, don't get killed. So, in my mind I'm thinking that, but at the same time, like, sitting down and I'm just really paying attention to it. I'm just really focused on it. I'm like, no. I'm like, no. You know what I mean? Because sometimes when you watch a movie, it's like you either think that in your mind, or sometimes I think depending what's going on, you happen to say that out loud, and you're like, you're saying out loud to yourself, like, no, that way. And I do that too at times. Like, depending the movie that I'm watching, sometimes I'll just say out loud, like no, that way, or no, like, oh my gosh, like, it depends on what's going on, and depending what happens next. So sometimes I do that, but just depends. But yeah, it was just, now of course I would say, even though I did like the movie, but at the same time, like, okay, the bear is quite scary. You know, like, he's killing people, and he's just like, almost like, what's the best way to put it? It's kind of like the bear itself is the villain, because it's like he's just so full of rage, almost like what's the word? Uh, you know, it's like I said, it kind of reminds me, yeah, of Jaws in a way, where the shark just keeps killing people, and as you can see that in the movie, that when people are out in the water having fun, what does the shark do? Instead of leaving those kids and people in the water alone, the shark just pulls them down and just tears them apart. And that's what it reminds me of, like this very aggressive, violent behavior, like with the shark and Jaws, and then this bear and the Edge. So it just seemed like, you know, like I said, so it just seemed like that, where it's like so it's like, so far, when they're not doing anything to hurt it in any way, um the bear is just going after them, like trying to kill them, almost like it's a killer bear, just like the killer shark in Jaws. And it's a, like I said, it's this aggressive, um violent and dangerous behavior of this bear in the movie. Now, to me, I I would think that, I think a bear would only come toward you to attack you with that kind of behavior if you are intentionally trying to hurt it in any way. Then yes, it will either to try to attack you, to possibly kill you, to defend itself, or to defend her cubs if it's a mother bear. But other than that, even if you do counter a bear, just don't freak out, because if you're not trying to hurt it in any way, just, you know, stay still, mind your own business, and the bear will go his or her own way. But if you try to do anything, then yeah, then you're gonna be in the danger zone. So yeah, and you don't want to put yourself in that kind of situation. But that's what it reminds me of. Almost like similar to Jaws, but although this is a bear on land. And that's scary. And that can really maul someone, like, horribly, you know, to death. And because they have really big, long claws. So that's why you don't want to put yourself in a situation where you would get that far, because you don't want that. And so yeah, I feel bad that this bear killed that character, because, and I forgive me if I don't remember the character's name. It's been a while since I've seen it, but I feel bad that the bear killed off that character, because he wasn't doing anything wrong. Because from what I remember, something happened to his leg. Oh yeah, I think something went through. No, wait, what was it? Something happened to his leg, and he was bleeding, um, through his leg. And of course, they were taking care of him, trying to take care of his wound. But it was until that piece of cloth that had his blood on it, that's when the bear just, you know, came towards him and just killed him, like killed him alive. Like that is just terrible. So yeah, after first watching this, yeah, I was like that. I felt pretty tense from it and scared. But of course, I not that it made me had like a fear of bears or anything, but still, I just thought, whoa, that was scary. But when it came to them killing the bear towards the end, you know, like this very long stick, and stabbed it right through the bear. Now that I did feel bad for the bear for, only because I think it didn't have to be killed that way, although I can see why, because a gun just wouldn't do it. But still, at the same time I felt bad because it's an animal, and like I said, I love bears, so seeing that I was like, oh, like, okay, I understand how it was acting, but at the same time I feel bad that it got killed that way, because I don't know, like, maybe the bear could have changed, maybe into not so aggressive and violent. I don't know, to me I think that would have been better, if only if the bear just changed and it left them alone, that would have been good. But I understand how that wouldn't have happened, because this is more like a very intense movie, of what would you do in this situation, especially with a bear like that who has that kind of violent and aggressive behavior. Like, what would you do? So I understand, but I still felt bad at the same time, like, oh, and I still don't like that. But yeah, after first watching it, I was, like I said, I did feel tense. I did feel scared with certain parts, and yeah, I did thought, like, wow, that was good, and I did thought that though. I thought that was a good movie. Like, they did a good job. Like, but like I said, it didn't change my point of view of bears, because I still love bears. And yeah, and even after that, of course, I still continue to watch it, and yeah, I just grew up watching it, and so of course, excuse me, a little dry. But yes, so of course, even afterwards, even as I got older, I still continued to watch The Edge, although it's been, I'm trying to think, I think the last time I watched it was 2 years ago? Yeah, it had to been at least 2 years ago since last time I watched The Edge, so I gotta watch it again, because it is a good movie. But I think, prefer to watch this over Jaws, just because I am afraid of sharks. Just because the way they open their mouth is terrifying to look at, and I don't know, something about them makes me more afraid of them than bears. I'm just being honest here. I am. Now I am thinking of doing one on Jaws, but not anytime soon. But mostly in the summer, and here's why. Because Jaws came out, I believe, somewhere in June, in 1975, and because it did so well, in the summer that year, I'm thinking, why not do back in time watches of the first time that I watched Jaws video. So I am gonna do that on Jaws in June, as well with Jurassic Park, because they're both directed by Steven Spielberg. But then again, I also prefer Jurassic Park over Jaws, just because T-Rex doesn't scare me like a shark does. And plus, there's so much that I love about Jurassic Park, and with Jaws, it's like, it just scares me, where I feel like I have to keep covering my eyes every time it does this. So I'm like, with his mouth open, I'm like, oh, I can't look. So yeah, that's what I'm gonna do. And I haven't even seen the sequels. I haven't seen the Jaws sequels, just because I feel like if there's any part where it's coming and all of a sudden it's like, I feel like every time I'm gonna keep covering my eyes, maybe every 5 minutes or every 10 minutes of the movie. So I am a little afraid to watch the sequels. So anyway, that is my first time on watching The Edge, and yeah, I still think that is a good, intense survival bear movie, and it's something that I would watch over and over, and something that I would also like to have on DVD. And for those who may or may not know, but the bear in The Edge is actually a bear actor, and his name is Bart. Um, and he has been in other movies. He has been in another movie with Anthony Hopkins and Brad Pitt in Legends of the Fall, and he has also been in a movie with John Candy in The Great Outdoors. And yes, Bart the Bear, he was a bear actor, and he had been in other movies as well, those that I mentioned, and I think he's been in a bear documentary, but sadly though, he did pass away because I've read somewhere that he had some kind of cancer inside his paw, and it was just so sad. And from what I've heard and read, is that, but yeah, pretty much from what I've read online, is that Bart the Bear was not like anything he was of the bear he played in The Edge. Like in real life, Bart the Bear was this very, very gentle and very sweet bear, like, and very friendly. And and I actually saw videos of that on YouTube where you see, because this married couple actually adopted Bart and they raised him, and so that they trained him as well, and they've grown so close to him that I think because the way he was raised with them was, I think they did a great job raising Bart, because he turned out to be like not only a professional bear actor, especially he did so well with playing this very aggressive and violent bear in The Edge, but in real life he's nothing like that. He's the he's very he was very gentle, sweet, and friendly bear in real life. And hearing that, I'm like, oh, like that's so sweet. Like, and I know with me, like, I know I would have loved to have met Bart and able to like see him in person. But yeah, I would have loved that. And considering what I've heard about him, like good things about him, it's like, yeah, that would have been great. Because who wouldn't want to meet an animal actor? Whether if it's like a cat, dog, horse, a bird, or even like another animal, like maybe a bear actor, or who wouldn't want to meet, maybe any kind of animal actor. So yeah, that's from what I've heard, and you can see videos on it on YouTube. And from what I've seen in those videos, that when he's with his trainers, that yeah, he's very sweet and friendly, and he's very gentle with them, and he gets along with them pretty well, like he did when he was alive at the time. And it's just really cute to watch, and it's just sweet. But it is sad though that he had passed away due to the cancer he had in his paw. But he will not be forgotten. He will be remembered of his performances and the bear roles he did in those movies, and for those who also knew him in real life. So yeah, but yeah, I'm pretty sure you didn't know that upon watching The Edge. But yeah, even I didn't know that. But no, of course, they wouldn't really work with wild animals who aren't trained. But considering that he was, yeah, he did so well. And of course, everyone else, with the rest of the cast on set, Anthony Hopkins, everyone else, they did a good job with their roles. And so, yeah, and I also felt sad too how it ended, because it ended in a way where, those two characters, the male characters die, but he's the only one who made it. He's the only one who survived and was able to tell the story, and it's just sad. So even the first time watching it, I felt sad. I felt sad how everything just went wrong and horribly wrong, and how that even though he was the only one who made it, who survived, but yet no one else did. Like, for those that were with him, they did not made it. And it's like, that is just sad, So yeah, other than that, it is a good movie, and it is something that I would watch again. Yeah, so hope you enjoy this, and it is going a bit long, but I just want to say that yes, in the summer, in June, I will do a video of the first time that I've watched Jaws, because that scared me. It still does. And then I will also do a video on the first time that I've watched Jurassic Park. Now that might be a little long of the video, just because there's the first time I've watched it, but there is so much more that I need to say about that. So that is all for today, and if you want to see more of this, because this is a new series of mine sharing the first time that I've seen a movie, and how afterwards, just saying what I thought about it, how it made me feel. Yes, what I thought, it was a really good movie, it still is, and I would still continue to watch it. And how it made me feel was, it made me feel intense, and just made me feel like what would you do in this situation? And of course, there are some parts that I felt bad that were happening, but at the same time, I'm just like feeling a little anxious because of what's going on, and then feeling sad towards the end because how it had a sad ending. So, and even though Anthony Hopkins' character did survive, but although he felt bad that his friends, those that were with him, did not make it. So that's how it made me feel. So to see more of this, like the video and leave a comment on what you think of The Edge. And excuse me, I'm sorry. And so yeah, and subscribe to see more, and to see more movie content for sure. And that's all for today, and I'll see you at the movies.